Hello, this is Jason Eagle for Strategic Healing, your natural healing, natural health authority. And today we're going to do a video on the shoulder girdle and the eye. Sounds like a story. It sounds kind of like a, excuse me, almost like a Grimm's fairy tale, the shoulder and the eye. The reason is because I remember working with a chiropractor years and years ago, and he had told me that there is a similarity in the musculature between the shoulder girdle, or what we would call the rotator cuff, and the muscles of the eye. The muscles of the rotator cuff. So we're looking at the muscles of the rotator cuff right now. What we've done is kind of selected away parts of the body, and so what we see here is that is the what's called subscapularis, and you see how that attaches to that ball and socket joint right there, that subscapularis. And then we also go into, so there's some muscles that we see that's obviously that's the what's called infraspinatus or supraspinatus, I'm sorry, and that's the one that kind of rotates it up, kind of rotates it this way. And then we've got, there's one again, the subscapularis. And it's broken into multiple sections, and so you can see all these different things that they do actions. So there's this muscle, and this muscle on both sides will rotate it this way. You got this muscle that will rotate it this way. We got this muscle that will rotate it this way. Okay, and then we also look up underneath, and there's also some muscles inside here that kind of rotates. That one also kind of pulled back. So see how it's kind of all around the ball cup. Well, let's now look at the eye and see if there's any similarities in there. And there we go, extraocular. Okay, now we see inside the eye there is this same architecture, in terms of, if you can just kind of extrapolate out of those muscles that we saw in that rotator cuff. This is exactly the same and about the same number. So we've got that muscle, or this muscle on top. You can see that will rotate the ball in circular direction. So rotate. Let me go into this. Create a new card, and it will rotate the eye in that direction. See, kind of going back and forth, kind of rotating. That's this muscle on the top right there. Where is it? Oh, it's going to be, yeah, it's these ones right under here, and then there's another one that kind of goes up. Oh, that's right, that goes right up on the top there. So then is that exactly the same as what's going on the shoulder? Well, it is. It's exactly the same as what's going on in the shoulder. So what he told me is basically, if you kind of look at what's called embryology, which is as embryos form in the womb, certain things form at certain times. And when the body was forming the baby inside and growing the eye, it had all these muscles that do all of this motion around this round circular thing, that at the same time, that's when it was developing the rotator cuff. So you see the rotator cuff in here. It's identical, and you can see we had that one that kind of went up over the top, this one that goes over the top that kind of rotates it. We've got these. So what is the relevance of this? The relevance of this is that when we are having a problem with one or the other, and that's what I've done in my practice, is when I'm working on a frozen shoulder or rotator cuff problem or things like that, when I'm doing massage or when I'm doing therapy, in terms of what I will do is I will move and do the range of motion of the arm, of the whole arm within this rotator cuff, at the same time as we do the work with the eyes as well. So that means that having you use your eyes movement to, as I'm stretching your arm out, I'm going to be moving, having you look from one side to another side. Sometimes I'll have you look from up to down and try and mimic what they call the clock. So in the shoulder, we do exercises or we do stretches that are what's called the clock exercises. And that is that if you could imagine that if you were to stretch it in a clock direction, which would be, let's say we go 12 o'clock is going to be up at the top, and 6 o'clock is going to be at the bottom, and then we have 3 o'clock over here and 9 o'clock over here. And it's doing directions in all axes of this. So not just in this direction, but let me get that out of there. And then also in the front direction. So if you were to, let's say, lift your arm up and we're going to go, this would be rotating it up to your ear, so levitating or lifting your shoulder up. So scrunch your shoulder up to your ear and then scrunch it down towards your hip. That would be 12 and 6. And if we then try and push it out to the side, using the muscles to kind of push it out to the 3 o'clock position, and then using the muscles to do it to the 9 o'clock position. What we do is we actually have that doing the exercises with the shoulders while we're doing the eye movements at the same time. And vice versa, if we're having problems with the eyes in terms of the musculature of the eyes, using the shoulder to help to rehab the eyes, or using the eyes to help to rehab the shoulder. And one of the reasons is because they're on the same circuit. You know, they talk about eye-hand coordination. Well, this is eye-shoulder, which is your shoulder. Your hand is the extension of your shoulder. And so it is true that they are, we can see that by looking, I was curious and I wanted to share this with you as I looked at it, like they are exactly the same. And they are extrapolative in terms of they're on the same circuitry. And so if you want to help one, help the other, and vice versa. So until next time, this is Jason Eagle for Strategic Healing. Bye.